What is up, New York Giants fans, Big Blue Nation? It's Rob and Donald. This is Nerding Out Sports, and Merry Christmas Eve to you, Donald, to your family, and to everybody who's going to be tuning in. Of course, to all the New York Giants fans out there. It's a big day. It's been a couple hours. The New York Giants take the field against the Vikings and a chance to clinch the playoffs here today. They got to get a W, and they got to get some help, but let's kick things off with that because how realistic, if you had to put a percentage on it, what is the percentage of chance the Giants clinch a playoff spot today, in your opinion?
I don't think it's going to happen by us beating the Vikings. I don't think we match up too well with them right now. But do I think we're going to make the playoffs? Absolutely. I think by beating Washington, we pretty much got it. As long as we don't do anything crazy and a complete meltdown, I think we're going to make the playoffs. But I don't think it's going to be today.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. I just don't see who we have that's going to stop Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook. They have two guys that we can't seem to be able to stop the run, and we don't have anyone that can lock down a true number one receiver, and Justin Jefferson may be the best in the football right now. So I don't know who's shutting him down, if anybody. He could have a career day for all we know. I don't know if it's going to be that bad or not, but I would put our chances very low. If I had to put a number on it, maybe like 20%. If we were fully healthy, if Adoree was out there, I'd feel a little bit more confident, but we just don't have the personnel to match up with that Viking offense.
Let's get into the keys of the game. So the marquee matchup, that'll be Dalvin Cook versus our inside linebackers. So you name it, whether it's Jalen Smith, Mike McFadden, or Landon Collins, maybe even a bit of Tony Jefferson. Those will be our inside linebacker guys that are going to be matching up against Dalvin Cook. So we are 30th in the league, allowing 150 yards per game on the ground. We can't stop anything on the run, whether in the run game. We can't stop anybody, not at all. But Dalvin Cook, he has got himself over 1,000 yards again this year. But the Vikings are actually more of a pass first offense, but they can run it. So they've got Dalvin Cook, who is formidable. And our inside linebacker spot is a mess. So that's going to be the marquee matchup. How is Jalen Smith, who really at this stage isn't a starting linebacker at all in this league, but he's having to start for us because we have such a lack of talent in that spot. Might see a lot more of Landon Collins, but that is going to be the key matchup. Dalvin Cook versus those guys. How do you think that's going to work out for us?
I think we might actually have a decent shot if the defensive line can generate the push, because the interior line on the Vikings is actually not great, and our strength is our defensive line in the interior. So it's going to be up to Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams. If we're going to stop the run, it's got to be those guys. Those two have got to set the tone. They've got to get the pushes. This way, if Dalvin Cook does, he's going to get yards one way or the other. He's just too good of a running back for him. He's not going to get stuffed all day. But we got to make sure he's not getting to that second level to where it's up to Jalen Smith or Micah McFadden to have to chase him down, because then he's going to pick up 15 yards, 20 yards in chunks, and it's just going to be one of those days where we can't stop anybody. So I'm looking at Dex and I'm looking at Leo. Big Cat, Sexy Dexy, these two guys have got to show out this afternoon. If the Giants have any shot of winning this game, these two guys, and of course Azeez and Kayvon on the outside, they have got to set the tempo, set the tone. It's up to that front four. They are the strength of this defense. Everything else right now is a major question mark. It's up to these guys if we're going to have a shot today, especially against that.
You got a good point, because their starting center, Garrett Bradbury, is out for this game. So that's a loss for them. That's an advantage that we can maybe take advantage of.
Hopefully.
You want to see Sexy Dexy, as you rightfully say. If he could penetrate up the middle without their starting center, that might help us big time in stopping the run. Another key, Leonard Williams. he has to be healthy, because there is a noticeable difference when Leonard Williams is available. Dexter Lawrence is that much more of an X factor, because otherwise, with Williams out, the whole defense tends to key in on Dexter Lawrence. So with Leonard Williams available, hopefully, then that should open things up for Dex to get in behind and cause some problems. So that's key number one for me. Going to be that matchup. The other matchup, which will be very important, I guess, is Tony Jefferson. And how is he going to do? And how are we going to stop their incredible receiving core and their incredible passing game? Jefferson is an absolute monster for the Vikings. He's a generational receiver, and I don't know how we're going to match up with them. So I guess you're going to ask Julian Love. You're going to ask Moreau. Somehow we're going to stop them. So that's the second key matchup. How do you think we're going to do with that?
I'm just looking at the stats of their guys. I mean, Jefferson's on another planet. Thielen's having himself a great year. I'm pretty sure he'd be the number one receiver for us, and he's number two for them. So, and then you can't forget about Osborne, because he's having a solid year as a number three guy. And they just got TJ Hawkinson a few weeks ago at the deadline, and we don't know how to stop good tight ends. So there's another weapon.
Great point.
So you mentioned Landon Collins. He might have to cover TJ Hawkinson in this game, because we don't really have it. I don't trust Jalen Smith, and I don't trust McFadden to take out TJ Hawkinson. And I don't think we can afford to put Julian Love on him, because then who is going to be that safety out there to help the cornerbacks who are going to need help eventually when Justin Jefferson gets past the first cornerback, and he's going to be wide open. So
that's why I kind of mentioned Big Tony Jefferson. I think he's going to have an important role as a safety / possible linebacker as well. You might want Julian Love to be matching up with the receivers and ask Tony Jefferson to play safety. That's a possibility. What do you think?
I think it's going to have to be the case. Julian Love right now is our best member of the secondary.
Yep.
Again, we can't stress enough just how shorthanded we are in the secondary with our two best players out. And we were able to make it work somehow last week, but this Viking offense is a different breed. They are scary. Justin Jefferson, not to say McLaurin's bad compared to Jefferson, but Jefferson's just on a league of his own. Like, there's a mountain, and the rest of the receivers in the NFL are currently below that mountain compared to him. That's how good he's been. No one can find a way to stop him. It's something that you haven't seen before. The numbers he's put up are looking like Randy Moss when his career started. He's looking like that generational player that you just mentioned. He's going to end up being at this pace. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's already got 111 receptions, 1,600 yards. He could break the record this year. That's actually possible. And considering what he's going against today, he can get a lot closer to it this afternoon, because who is covering him? And I can't figure that out. I've been asking myself that question all week. Who the hell is covering Justin Jefferson right now? I can't answer that question. Hopefully Wink Martindale can.
Yeah, I think the answer is we don't have anyone that can cover Jefferson. But even if we had Adoree Jackson available, it would certainly help us. But Jefferson is on another planet. He really is. He's just that good. So I have a scary feeling about Thielen, though, because it just kind of reminds me of the Eagles game. Even though A.J. Brown did have big numbers that day, we focused in on A.J. Brown, but it was Devontae Smith who killed us as the second receiver, because we just don't have anyone that can defend the second receiver. We have nobody. So I'm actually slightly more concerned about Thielen and maybe KJ Osborne, as you mentioned, and Hawkinson because our linebackers can't cover anybody either. So yeah, we got it's just not a great matchup for us. Another thing here, we are last in the league in explosive plays, explosive passing plays downfield. We just don't pass the ball downfield. That's just it. And that's not going to get it done against this Viking offense. The Viking offense is going to can score at ease. Look at what they did against the Colts in that epic comeback. They've got a lot of firepower, a lot of options. So we only scored 13 offensive points last week in our victory over Washington. You're not going to be able to do that again this week. Not at all. So we're probably going to need to get that ball downfield more. And I think the pass would set up the run on this occasion. But yeah, obviously the key, as in every week, is Saquon Barkley. He needs to have a huge game. But I think that in order to help us, we do need to try and get that ball downfield. Air it out, see if we can get some receptions together on first down, and then have Saquon run on second and short, which was the game plan last week, and it worked even though we only scored 13 points.
The Vikings give up about like 7.5 yards per passing attempt.
Mm-hmm.
So that can help us. We're going to have to see a lot of Hodgins, a lot of Slayton. We've been seeing a lot more Richie James lately. He's been stepping up, so maybe they use him. Wouldn't even bother to mention Kenny Golladay because he just doesn't play. So, although this would be the kind of game that you can use a prime Kenny Golladay to go over the top with, but that's another conversation. They have to do something. They have to try it because if you're going to win this game, you're going to probably end up being in a shootout. The Vikings rarely have games where they don't score at least 20 points, and it's only happened like twice this year, and that was against Philly and against Dallas where they scored 7 and 3. Every other game, they're scoring 20 or more points, and a lot of those occasions, it's 28, 29, 33, 34, 33 again, 39 last week. So this Viking offense can score, like you just mentioned. The Giants do not have the personnel on either side to get into a shootout, and that's been the case all year. That's why the games we have won have always been down to the wire, nerve-wracking. You're holding your breath, you're biting your nails, and you're saying prayers to make sure the game ends because we just can't keep up with teams right now. We don't have the personnel to do it. And it's going to have to be a monumental day for this defense if we're going to win this game today.
And I guess my fourth and final key. So we've covered the linebackers versus Cook. We've covered how we're going to cover their receivers, and we've covered the fact that we don't get the ball downfield. So it's obviously we need to improve our passing attack as key number 3. Key number 4 would be our pass rush. Now that is one thing that's been really, really good, especially thanks to Wink Martindale's very creative blitz schemes. Ojulari has been balling out since coming back from injury. He's been on another level. He's been getting a sack every single day. So we have him on the one side. We got Thibodeau on the other side. Thibodeau's been phenomenal lately. He obviously was the MVP for us last week. Won us the game basically single-handedly. Kirk Cousins isn't too good under pressure. He's no good under pressure. He's if you get him on the run, he's not the same quarterback. He needs a clean pocket in order for him to do this damage. So if you can get him on the run, you can sack him. You can get him under some pressure where he might fumble the ball. That's our best chance, I think. So key number 4 for me is our pass rush versus Kirk Cousins. If we don't get in behind and they leave a clean pocket, then he's going to pick us off. However, if we get him on the run, he is a weaker quarterback, and that's where we can do our damage.
Yeah, it's very important that you mention Azeez Ojulari because he's already second on the team in sacks with 4.5. And he just came back a couple of weeks ago. So his presence has been huge because it's opening things up for Thibodeau to finally get some sacks on the stat sheet. Now he's got 3, and he was stuck at 1 for the longest time after that Baltimore game. So he's starting to get going. Aziz being back has been so key because we knew that duo of Thibodeau and Aziz off the edge was going to open things up for the guys in the middle. Leonard Williams is bringing more pressure. Dexter Lawrence has been bringing pressure all year. Ryder Anderson has 2 sacks in a couple of games now. So there's chances here on this defensive line to get pressure, and it's because of Aziz. Now you can't zero in on Kayvon. You can't hold him left and right because then you got to worry about Aziz. So now that begs the question, after what Kayvon Thibodeau did last week, literally changed the game for the Giants single-handedly, do they put the focus on him to try to keep him out of the backfield? And how is that going to affect Aziz? Will Aziz now have that kind of day that Kayvon had last week? Because there's going to be so much attention on him. They can't let Thibodeau get back there and beat up on Kirk Cousins. But if they focus on him too much, here comes Aziz. And that's exactly what the Giants.
And then there's Sexy Dexy on the interior because they're starting centers out.
That's exactly what they envisioned when they drafted Thibodeau to go along with Ojulari and the guys they already had in the middle. Wink Martindale's defense is slowly but surely starting to come together. Obviously, we're still waiting for some key pieces to get healthy and who they add to this team next year. But you're seeing the foundation. You can blitz 4 with this defensive front, even in a Wink Martindale defense, and find success. And that's where the Giants have always been successful when they win, is with their front 4 generating pressure. We saw it in 2011. At the end of the season, Justin Tuck, O.C. Umenyiora, those guys, they were bringing pressure. We know what they had in 2007 with Strahan, Tuck, and O.C. and Kiwanuka and all these boys. So that's how you win when you don't have enough personnel. Blitz, 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 send the heat. It's going to be on these boys today all afternoon. They've got to make Kirk Cousins' life hell back there.
Yeah, I mean, if there is actually, I think that would actually, for me, is the key. Of all the keys that we mentioned, that for me is the key one. How much success are we going to get with our pass rush? I feel pretty good about the idea of Aziz, Thibodeau, and Sexy Dexy penetrating. I think they can do some damage. I think Kurt's going to have a tough time with that. That's a tough matchup for anyone. Then you can bring in Shahad Ward in blitzing situations. We also can bring the safeties up to the line, up to the edge, go all out blitz. Why not? Because to be honest, at this stage, we know we're not going to stop anyone in terms of coverage. So we might as well just go all out and try and attack that quarterback, get him down, put him under pressure. Put him under pressure, and maybe he won't have that clean pocket and have the kind of time to get that ball to Jefferson. We got a comment from Jacob. Thanks so much for joining here, man, on Christmas Eve. What up, brothers? Big game today. We clinched with a win and 2 losses. I know, Jacob. Happy holidays. Thanks again so much for joining us. So yeah, that's the key for us, man. That's how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be our pass rush. And if there's anyone that can do it, it's Wink Martindale.
Yeah, and Jacob mentioned the 2 losses: Washington and Seattle, Washington and Detroit, or Detroit and Seattle both lose, and we win, obviously, in all those scenarios. The Giants would clinch a playoff spot. So it's interesting that we're here today talking about the Giants potentially clinching. Meaningful football and on Christmas Eve is something that we have not had in a very long time. We've been talking about it all season, how we're going to be playing meaningful football down the stretch. And even if we don't clinch today, the fact that it's still going to be there for the taking next week and potentially even in the last week of the season, that's important for this team. And I know the personnel, we're running a practice squad out there. We're not fully ready yet. This is still a rebuild. It's year 0 of what's going to be a pretty, I don't want to say agonizing, but it's going to have to be a time-consuming process. But this is so important for a team that's going through this transition to say, look at what we're doing with 50% of what teams have that are going to the postseason. I mean, we are running a literal practice squad defense out there. outside of the defensive front. And we're succeeding in some areas where other teams are actually not. So coaching is very important. It's very important to note for this team's future. What Wink Martindale brings to the defensive side of the ball, you find scheme fits, guys are going to play well. And the same thing goes for the offense because we saw it last week. We've been critical of him, but he's doing what he can with what he is given as a coordinator. You can't really have this amazing game plan with the receivers we have out there. It's Saquon or nothing, but I love the fact that this team's in this position right now because as a fan, I didn't dream we'd be in a postseason spot this year, and it's right there for the taking. So I just wanted to go off on that little tangent again to say how proud I am of this team because for the first time in a while, that future is bright, and we can be patient because this team has a direction. Couldn't say that these last 6-7 seasons. You cannot say that.
I certainly want to impress on how impressive it is that we are 8-5-1. Because let's look at the team that won a Super Bowl a couple of years ago when it was at the NFC Championship game last year. That is quarterbacked by the GOAT Tom Brady. He's got Evans on one side. He's got Leonard Fournette. He's got a decent defense. He's got Godwin on the other side, and they are 6-8. Although they're 6-8. Very, very fortunate they're in a division which is so bad that at 6-8 they're number one. Now the reason why I'm bringing up Tampa Bay is because they're loaded for bear. They got a lot of options. They can get that ball downfield. They can run the ball. They can play bully ball with Leonard Fournette. They've got a decent defense, yet they are 6-8. Now, us, in year 0 of our rebuild, year 1 of our rebuild, whichever way you want to put it, we don't have those options. And we're 8-5-1. Coaching matters in this league. Chemistry matters in this league. And that is what we have in our favor. So I think the Giants deserve a lot of credit for the fact that they're 8-5-1, considering their personnel. As you say, man, we've got a lot of practice squad guys that are balling out and have put us in this position. So I think we should be very, very proud of the year that the Giants have had to this point. Looks like we got a Viking fan in chat. Too Evil to Hope, Skull Vikes, Crush Danny Jones. Well, thanks so much for joining, man.
Please don't crush him.
But no, I appreciate you guys you joining. It's always fun to have opposition fans in the chat. We certainly respect the year that you guys have had. You guys balled out this year. I was actually rooting for you guys to pull off that comeback against the Colts. Really happy you did because it was a really fun game and you thoroughly deserved it. So yeah, it's going to be a fun game. I think you guys are going to take it, but maybe our pass rush might cause some problems here. He likes being crushed, I heard. It's an up and down year. It's been pretty up for you guys.
When you're 11-3, you can't.
Yeah, I'd say it's fairly up. Take 11-3, right?
I would be screaming for 11-3 right now. Bills game the most. They played the Bills this year? Did they beat the Bills? Or did they even play them?
Yeah, they beat the Bills. Oh
yeah, that's right. It was that 3-point game. I keep forgetting that. Yeah, the Vikings, like you mentioned it, they have an offense that is built to go toe-to-toe with some of the best in the league, but they do tend to give up points as well. So they're a team that's equipped for a shootout, and we're not. So that's why I've been saying if it gets to that point, then the Giants just have no shot. So it's going to be up to that defensive front to make sure it doesn't get to a shootout, and maybe the Giants will have a chance to pull off the upset. Giants and Jets always do great. Not recently.
Maybe you guys can scoop up Zach Wilson.
God, no.
Oh,
I would
please
take
no.
Daniel Jones with one arm right now.
Come on. We're nice to you. Be nice to us in return. You can't troll us like that with Zach Wilson. We want nothing to do with Zach Wilson. He might be the worst quarterback I've ever seen. Legit. Has the worst mechanics of any quarterback I've seen in the league.
It's pretty damn rough watching him play football. But we broke down the keys to the game, broke down the playoff clinching scenario. Shall we get into our predictions for the game? He's a Mormon.
Let's do it.
Didn't know that. I didn't know he was a Mormon. All right. Well,
he plays loosey goosey with the moms.
Yes, he does. Enough about Zach Wilson, the apparent bum Mormon quarterback from the New York Jets. Let's talk about the New York Giants, and we'll talk about our quarterback, Daniel Jones. Predict his stat line for the afternoon, Donald.
Well, he needs to get the ball downfield because we're last in the league in getting the ball downfield. So if you want to free up room for Saquon Barkley, and if you want the play action to be successful, I would do the same game plan as we had last week against Washington, where Daniel Jones is a much better quarterback passing on first down than he is in other situations. So yeah, pass the ball on first down, even if it's 6-7 yards. Great. Second and short, Saquon Barkley, first down. That's kind of what the game plan needs to be, similar to what it was in Washington. You can then mix in the play action. So I want to get the ball downfield a little bit more. So with that in mind, I think DJ clears 200, which is a big thing for him because he very rarely does. So let's give him. I would say 220, maybe 230. I would say 230 yards passing.
Okay. Any touchdowns, turnovers?
I do think he's going to turn the ball over. Let's say, well, he's got the lowest interception total in the league, which is amazing, just 4. So I think if he was to turn the ball over, he'd be 1 forced fumble. So 1 fumble recovery, I think, on him. So I think he's going to get strip sacked. So that'll be 1. And will he get it? I'll go 1 touchdown for him.
All right. No, he doesn't. He only has 4 on the season.
Your quarterback has 11.
Yeah. So at least there's that. I also think Danny's going to get over 200. I don't think he'll get too much. I'm going to say 215, around that area. So I'll go 215. And I think he's going to throw for a couple of touchdowns in this game. And I think because we've been talking about it so much, he's going to end up having an interception.
Okay. So 2 touchdowns, 1 interception.
Yep.
And then 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. Okay. So we're pretty much similar in terms of yardage.
You know what? First you said Zach Wilson, now you said Carson Wentz. Washington doesn't even want to play him.
That's true.
The 2 quarterbacks you've mentioned, I would take Daniel Jones over any day of the week right now.
I would too. I'm not even that huge a Daniel Jones fan, but he is much better than every name that you've mentioned.
And here's 2 more to add to the list.
Margin.
Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. We know how Donald feels about Baker Mayfield.
I really don't like Baker Mayfield.
Let's move on to Saquon Barkley. If this offense is going to do anything today, it's going to be on the back of 2-6. What do you think he's going to have today?
2-6 needs to have a pretty decent game. But I'm concerned that if the Vikings go 2 scores up and above, then the Giants might move off the running game. Or then the Vikings will just load the box and take the run game out. So in that case, I'm gonna go 89 yards. No, we'll go 90. First thought, 90 yards rushing for Saquon.
Okay.
I think he will get a touchdown.
All right. I think they're going to zero in on him and they're going to force Daniel Jones to have to try to beat them. He had 87 last week, he looked great last week. I would like to think they can try to repeat that, but most of that came in the fourth quarter. I think he'll finish with 74 yards, and I don't think he's getting the end zone today.
That's a brutal prediction.
I think most of our damage, if we have any, is going to be coming from the passing game. I think it kind of has to. Jones runs whenever they have. It hasn't been as much this year as the last couple of years, but he's still.
I don't even think you could even. I would even perhaps say that he doesn't run enough, if anything.
He still has 583 yards though on the year. He runs. It doesn't because last couple of years Garrett had so many designed runs for him, where now a lot of Jones's runs are kind of like he's going to go read option or he's going to do different things, and he sometimes just tucks and runs when there's nothing available. A lot of the times last year Garrett was like just run, so it's a little different, but he's still generating a good amount of yards. That's why people are kind of looking at his stat line. They say, oh, he's only got 2,600 passing yards. They go, well, he's adding a lot more on the ground. He does have 5 touchdowns. So they're trying to combine his numbers together because he's pretty much been a dual threat game manager at this point. So
that's a great point. How many rushing yards do you think DJ is going to get today?
Oh, man. What did he put up last week? He had 35 a week ago. I would say around 30, around that number, maybe a little bit more if he pulls off one of those big 20 or so yard runs downfield, but
I'll give him 40. You're going 30. Hey Tony, thanks so much for joining, my man.
What's up, Tony?
Happy Christmas Eve. Hope you're well. I've had a good show to get this up so you can catch up on us on the show later on. But yeah, really glad you managed to join. Okay, so we have 30. You have 30 yards rushing for Daniel Jones plus 215 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. I've got 40 yards rushing, 230, 1 touchdown, 1 fumble. You've got a very quiet game for Saquon, 74 yards, no touchdowns. I've got 90 and a touchdown. Good comment here from Too Evil to Hope. When Cousins runs, he's insane enough to dive head first. Thank goodness his best ability is durability. He is a very durable quarterback, and you're right. His sliding technique is bad. It's a little scary.
Kind of like Jones, who needs to slide.
Is very much the same. So we've got that in common. So Tony has the Vikings winning 37-27. So, okay, Rob, what do you have?
I don't think they'll put up that many points. Although they possibly could if Jefferson has that kind of day. I do think they're going to get to the 30 mark, so I'm going to say it's going to be Vikings 30, Giants 23.
Okay, me. I do think that they're going to clear 30. I'm going to go 31 for the Vikings and 20 for the Giants. Yeah, I can see 31-20. My man here has a very decent game for Daniel Jones, 225, 2 touchdowns.
I take that.
Which is kind of roundabout where we are. So we're on the same wavelength there. 178 yards receiving for Jefferson. Oh my God, we're going to get absolutely.
Once again, Tony, I'm hoping that your predictions are completely wrong, except for the Daniel Jones one, because I would take that.
He very rarely is completely wrong. He's been pretty accurate, apart from the whole Evan Neal thing, which I'm not going to remind him of. The 178 is much in line with what he's been doing basically every single week. He's been basically a Madden player at this stage. So we're going to write that down. Jefferson has 178 according to Tony. How many do you have for Jefferson?
150.
Yep. I'll go 140. Which would be a win as far as I'm concerned if we can hold Jefferson to 140.
How about our leading receiver?
Probably be Hodgins in the slot. I'm going to give him to Hodgins. Probably be like 65 or something.
Well, I believe last week you went with Hodgins and I went with Richie James, and it was close. And it was Richie James who edged it out by about 5 yards over Hodgins. So right now we've always had slim pickings. Since you went Hodgins, I think today's the day that Slayton gets back into that first place role. And
so you're going to give it to Slay? We'll see
Tony
if Tony
says,
who Tony thinks is going to be the Giants' leading receiver.
Tony, we love you too. Merry Christmas, brother. Thank you for always being here and supporting.
Love you too. Thank you so much for the support, Tony. Much appreciated, man.
Jeffrey, what's up, brother? Thank you for popping in.
Thank you, Jeff.
Predictions right now. Predictions for the game. So we got Slayton and Hodgins as the leading receivers for us. Now, first touchdown, as we await Tony's answer. Who gets the first touchdown? Ooh, Tony's got Slayton with 85 yards and a touchdown. I would be kind of ecstatic if one of our receivers had that close to 100 yards.
I'm going to go with Saquon.
Okay, Tony has Slayton getting the first touchdown. Now, I got Jones throwing for a couple of touchdowns. And I do think Slayton will get one, but I think the first is going to go to Isaiah Hodgins.
Yeah, I was thinking Hodgins too. It's a good call. Okay. Sacks. How many sacks are we going to get?
That's going to have to be. I think today we can get 5. I'm going to say 5.
Okay. I think we're going to get 4. I'd be happy with either total, to be honest. Okay. Next prediction.
The first takeaway for the Giant defense. That's a thing because it's always a fumble lately because we only have like 4 interceptions on the season.
Yeah, we don't intercept the ball. We've got hands like feet, but we can force fumble, and I'm pretty happy with that. So, who is going to force that fumble? I would say Azeez Ojulari will force that fumble.
Tony has 3 sacks for the defense today. I know I just said we don't get interceptions, but I think this week that'll change. The first turnover is going to come from Landon Collins. He's going to get a pick.
Oh, my man, Landon is back. He actually played really well in his return to the Giants last week.
He did. It was nice to see because I've been asking for him to play for so long, and a lot of fans have wanted it. Don't know why they waited so long, but they elevated him last week. It seems like he's got the spot now because they cut and then re-signed Tay Crowder to the practice squad. So I don't know what that.
Yeah, how do you feel about Tay Crowder being cut?
I thought it was one of those we're going to teach you a lesson thing. There's no nonsense, but they brought him right back like the next day to the practice squad. So I don't know what to think about that. I know he's not good, but the Giants are also extremely thin and bad at that position that cutting anybody doesn't seem like a smart move. If it was simply for the roster spot, I understand it, but I was confused about it because I don't know if they're trying to teach him a lesson, but then you bring him back. So I know he apologized for the whole tweet right afterwards. It was just such a weird situation. I really don't know what to think about it.
Cousins throws picks, so I don't know who gets it though. You're right. He actually does. He's 11 for the year. That's a good shout. How many turnovers do you think the Giants are going to force?
I would say 2. I do think they'll get their forced fumble. They seem to get those a lot.
I'm going to go 2 as well, actually. I think we're going to get a forced fumble and an interception. But I think the Giants will maybe keep this kind of fairly close in the first half. So I could see that happening. Any other predictions?
Tony says 3.
Man.
I would take that. I mean, Tony's kind of generous in his predictions.
3 turnovers, though. You have us losing 37-27. But with those 3 turnovers, that could be enough for us to win.
I don't know. I think Tony secretly wants us to win this game. He just doesn't want to say it. He's in the Christmas spirit right now. So, but let's get into our weekly predictions because we did not get last week's picks in. So it was a non-week for us. But this week we got a whole slate of Christmas Eve games and then some.
Let's go.
Crap tomorrow. I don't know who's watching football tomorrow, but. Let's start. We already got Giants and Vikings in, so we both picked the Vikings there. We got the Bills. Tony's going crazy with his predictions again, saying the Texans are going to beat the Titans. We got the Bills taking on the Bears.
Bills v. Bears. Well, I mean, you have to be out of your mind if you don't think the Bills are going to win.
Yeah, Buffalo. Should be a blowout. Should be. Don't know if it will be. We got the Saints and the Browns in Cleveland. Cleveland's starting to win a couple of games here. They got the asshole back at quarterback, so maybe it's a good thing for them. I don't know. I do think they're going to win this game, though.
Who?
Cleveland over the Saints.
Yeah, I think so too, unfortunately.
And Tony's game.
Tony agrees. Yeah.
Tony's game as his point spread covering Texans take on the Titans. Tony thinks the Texans are going to win.
Okay.
I don't think they will. Taking the Titans.
I think the Titans have more to lose because they're still there or thereabouts. So I don't think they can afford to lose this game. So for that reason, I'm going to go with the Titans. But the Texans have made it very, very close in every game lately. They've just not quite pulled it out. So if there's a week that they could do it, it could actually be this one. So Tony might not be wrong, but I'm still going to go with the Titans on this occasion. Happy Christmas, my man. I'll see you soon. I will see you very, very soon. A couple of days.
Donald's coming to the States, ladies and gentlemen. We got the Seahawks taking on the Chiefs. Oof, the Chiefs are 10-point favorites in this one. I don't see how they lose this one. I'm taking the Chiefs. Kind of need them to win this game, too.
Yep.
Tony says Ovaltine Christmas.
Love it. Love it.
Tony's got KC winning.
Oh, that's a very, very kind comment. Thank you very much.
He'll be here sooner than later, and it's going to be a great trip. He's going to the Giants-Colts game next week with just Alex. I don't know if Luke is joining you guys, but I know you're going.
I think he's joining us for lunch after with the Talking Giants guys.
Oh, really? Talking Giants. Nice. Shout out to them. We got the Bengals. Joey B taking on the Patriots in Foxborough. I think it's supposed to be snowing, so that should be interesting.
Ooh. Give me Joey B.
I kind of want to pick the Patriots here. I haven't. I'm going to take New England. They're at home. I think with the snow, it's going to help them. I got to go. I can't believe I'm picking against the Bengals because they're my pick to win the whole thing. But this week, I think New England really needs to win, and they're going to have that home field advantage.
I can see that.
Tony has the Bengals as well. The Lions and Panthers, another big game that has immediate impact on the Giants. Detroit's red hot. The Panthers are like weird because they're still technically alive for that terrible NFC South. I'm taking the Lions. Yeah, it's actually kind of cold in Florida right now. It's been beautiful out. This morning was like 45 degrees. Haven't experienced cold weather all year. It's great.
Give me the Lions. Let's go Lions. Let's go to the playoffs, baby.
That's exactly what Tony says. Lions, baby. Falcons and Ravens. Another team that's still alive in the NFC South, the Falcons.
Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, I picked them on the Boys in the Big Apple on Monday, and I'm gonna go with the Falcons as well this time. I picked them the other night. I'm gonna stick with it.
I thought we were gonna have a difference of opinion there, but we're pretty much riding with the same thing apart from the one Bengals game. Let's see if we can change it up for the rest of it.
Oh, there's a couple of games I think will be different on coming up. But next up, I think we're pretty good. I think we're both going to agree on this one as well. Commanders 49ers in San Francisco.
Give me the Commanders.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll have one different. I'm taking the 49ers.
Okay.
The Eagles and the Cowboys. This is actually pretty significant because the Cowboys are still technically alive in the NFC East. And Eagles win clinches it. So this is a huge game.
Give me Philly.
I'm taking Dallas.
Fun.
I think Jalen Hurts is injured. So I'm taking Dallas.
Oh, shit. But still, I don't really rate Prescott that much. Give me the Eagles.
Couple of 6 and 8 teams battling it out. Raiders and the Steelers. This is the Sunday night game tonight. Could actually be a fun one. These are two teams that are weird.
Very weird. What are you thinking?
I still can't pick the Raiders. I made a bet with myself, so I got to go Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure I'm responsible for the Raiders getting back on track because I've been picking against them every week and they've been winning.
All my Pittsburgh family are going to be very mad at me here. Give me the Raiders.
And that moves us to the Christmas Day games. We got 3 of them. The Packers and the Dolphins might be the only one that's worthwhile to watch. This is a tough one.
Who's the home team?
Miami.
Okay.
Now it's supposed to be chilly. It's supposed to be chilly in Miami tomorrow. I don't want to say cold, but it's supposed to be very nice out yet again tomorrow. So as
nice for you means cold.
Right now it is beautiful out. You got to understand, from like February till literally yesterday, it's been like 85 degrees or higher, and it rains more often than not. It's disgusting out. You walk outside for 5 minutes, and you're surrounded by gnats, and you're sweating, and you feel like you want to bring an extra stick of deodorant because you just never know. It sucks. So now I wake up this morning, and it's
wonderful.
40 degrees outside. I went for like a 2-hour just walk. I don't walk a lot. And I just was like, it's so nice out. And I loved it. And I'm probably going to do it again tomorrow morning. It's going to be like 35 degrees early on. I'm going out there. I love it. Because it's going to go away. It's going to be in Florida when it gets cold, it's gone like that. I got to enjoy it while it's here.
I'm the opposite, man. Give me sunshine. Give me heat. Give me heat.
That's gross. Absolutely gross.
I know. I'm the same. I'm literally craving hot weather. I need sunshine.
No.
My body's like, help me.
Year round, I can't do it. It's 52 in Hollandale Beach. It's nice. That's nice. I don't know what's so bad about 52 degrees. If it was like snowing every day, what's the point spread? The Titans, according to this, are 3.5-point favorites. The Texans should cover, which is basically a win for you guys. So,
Packers, Miami.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers.
Oh, cool. Give me Miami.
I want to watch the Dolphins crumble. MG says Giants are horrible. Well, we're all entitled to our own opinions, but thank you for popping in anyway.
I mean, 8-5-1, is that really horrible?
For a team that had no expectations, I'll take it. Jesus, 38-13? Well, I certainly hope you are wrong, MG. Certainly hope you are wrong. Next up, this is the Nickelodeon game, so we know how much the NFL and
Nickelodeon?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Well, it's Broncos and Rams, so they got to put the worst game possible on there.
Oh, I'm going to be sick.
That's why they have the slime, so it looks like throw up.
Oof. Not even the kids would watch that.
I don't think so. I really don't.
That's not football.
I can flip a coin, and if it's that's what I'll base it off of. Heads, it's Broncos. Tails, it's Rams.
I just don't know. I despise both teams.
I'm taking the Rams. The coin says so.
God, I don't know, man.
That's a bad game.
It's an awful game.
Tony's
I think I'd rather the Rams win. But, I don't know. Yeah, give me the Rams. They all suck anyway.
The final game tomorrow night, Buccaneers and Cardinals. MG ordered up some Chinese food for the game. Oh, I'll enjoy some Chinese food, watch some football. It says Dexter Lawrence is a monster. He certainly is. Sexy Dexy.
Sexy Dexy, as Rob likes to call him.
Hey, he's a sexy man. I don't know. What do you want me to say? He's Sexy Dexy.
He ain't sexy.
Come on, give the big man some love. He does that dance.
No, he's sexy at football. That's all that matters to me.
Hey, he's a big, sexy football man. There you go. He's a sexy football player. Whatever you want to say. Buccaneers, Cardinals.
Give me the Bucks.
Yeah, I'll take the Bucks. They're 7.5-point favorites. The Cardinals are a train wreck.
They are. I don't know what's good, but to be honest, Bucks are a train wreck too. They're 6-8.
Yeah,
but they're somehow going to make the playoffs with that record. So yeah, we have a couple of games.
Well, there's one more game. There's one more game. Monday Night Football on the 26th. The Chargers and the Colts.
Oh, okay. Well, again, nice and easy. Give me the Chargers.
Give me the Chargers as well. MG says Giants getting some guys back. They might be okay. Yeah, I think next week we might have Adoree back. And I don't know about Xavier McKinney. It's possible he's back by the end of the season, but I'm not really sure. Vikings defense is horrible. Well, we don't have a great offense, so you guys might look pretty good against us today. But we'll see.
Yeah, no, listen, I think it's going to be – I think the Giants might have some success. with Lawrence and your backup center because Bradbury's out. So that might work out in our favor. I quite like Aziz and Thibodeau on the outside. Kirk Cousins is not the same quarterback when he doesn't have a clean pocket. So that's the Giants' best chance. But let's be honest, with your receiving options, Jefferson's going to go off with 150 yards plus probably. Thielen, I think, will have a good night. And we give up 150 plus yards on the ground, so I'm sure Cook will have a solid game too. I just don't think we have the options that can match up on that. So I do see the Vikings winning, but I don't think it's going to affect the Giants' season. I think the Giants are going to make the playoffs. I think the Giants will clinch it against the Colts, the game I'm going to next week, and all will be fine.
Giants can only win if they run the ball. I don't know about that. I think your defense, your secondary is a little suspect. Even with our lack of receiving depth, I think we can try to take advantage of it if Danny's on the move. Kind of those play action, those bootlegs. He can create some guys open, scheme some guys open. It's possible. Giants have won in a variety of ways this year, but that is kind of true that the running game sets up everything else. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully the Giants can pull off the upset, prove us both wrong, and we can clinch a playoff berth today with a little bit of help. That would be sweet to be able to celebrate a playoff berth, but we'll have to wait and see what the result is, and we will discuss it at some point in the next, I don't know, maybe.
Well, we will run the ball 100%. I mean, Saquon is the key to the offense. It's just you guys are going to stack the box like every opponent has been doing since basically mid-season to try and neutralize Saquon. So also, Daniel Jones is not the same quarterback on 3rd and long, 2nd and long situations. He's better. His rating is much better on 1st down. So that was our game plan kind of against Washington, where it would be like a Daniel Jones 6-7 yard pass, and then Saquon Barkley on 2nd down, 2nd and short. That was kind of our game plan. I can see something similar in this game because you guys are going to key up on Saquon Barkley, rightfully so, because he's our only playmaker. So we just don't have the kind of options to mix it around. But we do need to pass the ball a little bit, or else the play action, which we use a lot, is not going to be effective.
Right, and MG says Barkley did a lot of damage to the Commanders, and we have a big-time defense. We got tired. I don't know if is MG a Vikings fan or a Commanders fan. I don't know. But maybe you can answer that. Are you a Vikings fan or a Commanders fan? Because that tells me you might be a Commanders fan. But either way, we do appreciate you popping in, and we do appreciate everybody that was here. Tony joined late, but it's okay because you were always in the comments, always supporting. Luca was in here. Jeffrey was in here for a little bit. Jacob. We're getting some comments from Too Evil to Hope early on as well.
Oh, go Commanders. You're right, Rob. You picked it up.
Yep. See? I don't know. That comment, I think he's a Commanders fan. Well,
we beat you guys, yeah.
Little late, but
it'll beat you guys.
Yeah, little late, but hold the L. But once again, though, thank you for popping in. Thank you, everybody else, for popping in. And be sure to like, share,
subscribe, man.
All that.
To the chat will certainly do us a world of good.
And follow those Twitter handles in the descriptions. You can follow myself. You can follow Donald. Follow Alex. Follow Luca. And make sure to subscribe to the Big Blue in the Bronx channel to check out Donald and the twins, Luca and Alex, every Monday on the Boys in the Big Apple podcast. They talk football. They talk basketball, baseball. They got a Knicks show they're doing on Friday nights now. They're very busy over there at that channel. But be sure to like and share, comment, subscribe to this video, and go subscribe to the Big Blue in the Bronx channel. That is going to do it for us here at Nerd Out Sports. Once again, big thank you and a Merry Christmas to everybody out there. Let's go, New York Football Giants.
Happy holidays, everyone. Take care.
Absolutely. Peace out.
To you and your family.